Now, the UDF 40 Steering Committee held an event in the Free State building up to the national celebrations of the 40th anniversary of the UDF on the 20th of August. The UDF, the United Democratic Front, began as an umbrella body for anti-apartheid movements, and when many groups were banned, members of the UDF continued to fight the system very publicly in the 1980s. Of course, the UDF was disbanded in 1991. To discuss, we're now joined by former UDF leader and anti-apartheid activist, of course, former commissioner to London as well, that's Cheryl Carolus. Ms. Carolus, thank you for being with us. Tell us about the event.
Good evening, Francis.
In the Free State, do you feel like there's interest and excitement about the upcoming 40th anniversary?
Yes, Francis. In fact, I was in Kimberley on Wednesday. And tomorrow, Murphy Marobe is visiting Bethel in Mpumalanga. Who want to commemorate...
Ms. Carolus, sorry, you completely froze. So you're saying there have been events across the country in the build-up to the 20th of August?
Hello, Francis? Oh, dear.
Ms. Carolus, let's try again. If you can hear me, you were outlining some of the events that have happened in the build-up to the main event. Let's see if you can continue.
Yes, thank you, Francis. There are a number of events happening across the country this weekend, because next weekend on the 20th is the big event in Johannesburg City Hall. And it's been quite remarkable that people have just felt we needed to commemorate and reflect on that moment, which was the final thing that broke the apartheid regime, we believe, because of that groundswell of mass resistance in the 80s. And but we also thought it must be forward-looking, that today there are many things that trouble us about our country, but there are also many things that we have.
All right, what a pity. Perhaps we'll come back and speak to Cheryl Carolus. So many questions in the run-up to the big 40th anniversary event planned for next weekend. As she says, let's move on and we'll see if we can come back and get a better line. All right, let's try this interview again. The UDF 40 Steering Committee held an event in the Free State building up to the national celebrations of the 40th anniversary of the UDF on the 20th of August. So it's just around the corner. The UDF, of course, involved in the anti-apartheid struggle until it was disbanded in 1991. Let's speak to a former leader of the UDF and a member of the UDF 40 Steering Committee, Cheryl Carolus. Ms. Carolus, unfortunately, we were interrupted by technology earlier. I was asking, is there excitement building? Is there interest in the anniversary event, the main one? And you've got, of course, all these pre-events across the country.
Yes, indeed, there is, Francis, and my apologies that our connection broke down. As we speak now, I'm in fact in a forum with university students, because the big focus of this 40th anniversary of ours is getting intergenerational conversations and uptake for the idea, the theme of the 40th anniversary, which is active citizenry for transformation and for accountability. And I'm speaking to university students, tertiary education students in a hall now. I had to be called out to do this interview. And tomorrow I'm going to be in Brandfort with young women, in fact, also having the similar kind of conversation to talk about what the UDF 40th was about. But we think our focus must be forward-looking, to say, whatever our views are, and I think there's a great amount of concern about our country at the moment, and we want to say to people that we need to get back to what we did when we broke the back of apartheid in this country, and that is to be active citizens. Today, we have many instruments at our disposal, so like community policing forums, ward councils. We are not using these. School governing bodies. And so we want to say to South Africans and to young people in particular that they need to look back on our history, and I'm sure we've got lessons we can learn from them, or the academic insights and whatever, such as young people always have opinions, or they should. But we also need to map a path forward with them where we can hand over the baton so that we can build the future that they wish for.
Popo Molefe has said this isn't any sort of mobilization towards a relaunch of a political party. Is it just a commemoration and like you say, a call to active citizenry where people get involved where they are?
No, absolutely, Francis. We've got absolutely no intention of launching political parties, but what we do have an intention is to ensure that we have robust civil society, such as what we had during the days of the UDF, where we can support good elected leaders, and where those who are bad elected leaders must know they must be scared of us. And we have every intention to make sure that we make the structures of democracy work, which have been moribund up until now, and good elected leaders, politicians, whatever you call them, would see us as a godsend, we hope, because we'll support them to ensure that there's ongoing transformation, because there's a lot of work that still needs to happen there, and a lot of bad things that have happened in the name of transformation. And the good people of our elected leaders of all the political parties should actually welcome this, and the bad ones should be very scared of us.
I have to ask you, because it caught some attention, the open letter by Dr. Alan Bussack saying why he would not be attending the 40th commemoration. And he said, effectively that you and others are part of an ANC faction. You've still been there when the ANC has not followed on the mandate or the vision of the UDF for decades. He says he calls that faction, of course, defend your democracy. Is it all about that? What's your response to what he's saying, that you could have done so much more for the longest of time?
Deborah, I think that we do not wish to cause any distractions to the celebration. Popo Molefe has written a very substantive letter in response to Dr. Bussack, refuting many of the things which he said, including the fact that I think Popo Molefe, myself, Trevor Manuel, Vali Musa, we've actually been at the Zondo Commission to testify against wrongdoers of any shape or color, and that includes the ANC. I think we have been perhaps maybe even a bit more present than Dr. Bussack has been in speaking out. I mean, myself, Mabuso Mtimang, others were there with the Nkandla outcome, challenging that, calling for support to the Constitutional Court. Dr. Bussack has also done certain things. He went to go and visit John Block in prison and publicly spoke out in support. I mean, I think that it's most unfortunate because we had reached out to him in the spirit of broadness, saying not all of us would always agree on everything. But it's also sad and unfortunate if we want to attack or try to diminish other people's contributions, because I think we don't want to blow our own trumpets, but I think we have been quite consistent in our own speaking out on wrongdoing, but more importantly, in our efforts to include everyone, including Dr. Bussack, to in fact look back, look at our mistakes, but also build a path forward. And we still hope that he would find his way to be able to engage with the movement, but it's taken off without him. And we just think it's been wonderful how people have responded, like these university students who are sitting in this lecture hall with me tonight.
All right, thank you very much for giving us that preview tonight. UDF former General Secretary and anti-apartheid activist Cheryl Carolus.